Steve Rinella, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. It's a privilege to come on. Like, I always watch your. I consume tons of the shorts you pull from your episodes.
Oh, thank you.
And I like them. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like all the warriors, man. Like hearing them tell stories is a kick. Yeah.
Man, it's an honor to do it. You know, I just think it's really important to document the last war. I mean, I was in part of both of them, so I think it's just important to document that stuff, actually, how it happened, instead of listening to some fucking newshead on the media tell us about what happened who'd never been there, or maybe they did a photo shoot there at some point in time. But yeah, I've been tracking you for quite a while, so it's pretty surreal to have you sitting in here. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
But all right, everybody starts off with an introduction, so here we go. Steve Rinella, an American outdoorsman, writer, and TV host known for ethical hunting, wildlife conservation, and field-to-table cooking. Founder of MeatEater Inc., producing top-tier content on hunting, fishing, and outdoor lifestyles across TV, podcasts, and digital media. Host of the MeatEater TV series on Netflix. You run the MeatEater Podcast, America's #1 outdoors podcast and a top 10 sports podcast. Author of 10 books plus 3 audiobooks on hunting, survival, and nature, including hits like The American Buffalo, In Search of a Lost Icon, and the MeatEater Fishing Game Cookbook. And you're a husband and a father. And so, being out there a little bit, talking to your team, we were asking for funny stories, and they had mentioned something about a hunt. I believe it was in South America for monkeys.
Yeah.
What is that? Well, I got to hear this.
Yeah, I had a number of real life-changing experiences hunting down in South America with indigenous South Americans. Some people use the term Amerindians. I spent time with some guys that are from the Macushi tribe, or Macushi and Wapashan tribes in Bolivia, and then the Chamane. Macushi and Wapashan in Guyana, and the Chamane in Bolivia. And we were on a river trip, traveling up a river with some Chamane guys, and they had a shotgun, which is kind of a common armament down there. And it would be that, like, I was with these guys. Another trip I was with, just to give you a sense of the ammunition and stuff they use down there, is I was with these guys in Guyana one time that they weren't supposed to have a gun, right? They weren't allowed to have firearms, but they had a firearm, and they had a 16 gauge shotgun, and they had 12 gauge ammo. And they would, I'm not kidding you, dude, they would sit there. So at night, they like to hunt at night, and they would take that, they had a 16 gauge casing. It's got the same primer. So they would take that 12 gauge shell. Someone would give them these 12 gauge shells, and they would cut it open, and they had a leaf. They cut it open, poured the shot out in a leaf, got the wad out, poured the powder out in a leaf, pushed that primer pin out, put the primer into the 12 gauge, put the powder in. And then they had this kind of waxy paper they'd use for wadding, put their shot in, then they had a candle. Instead of crimping it, they'd cut the crimp off, and they'd melt a candle in there and drip candle wax in there to seal the thing.
No way.
So they could go take their 16 gauge shotgun out hunting. I remember one night these guys, I would go out with them sometimes. One night I just, for whatever reason, I wasn't like invited to go. I remember they made 2 of these shells, and they're gone for quite a while in the dark. And a while, I never found out what happened, but a while later they come back, make one more shell, and then go back out again. So that was, but these to get back to the question about the monkey, these guys in Bolivia, they really like monkeys, and different. The handful of different groups I hung out with, there's different opinions about eating monkey. It's either taboo or not, but these guys like red howler monkeys. So I go out with them in the jungle, and they had found they knew about a tree that was fruiting. They had been scouting around and found a fig tree, or not a fig tree, maybe some kind of date. I don't remember the fruit. I'm sorry, but we got under a tree, and we're just waiting under a tree, and pretty soon you can see a howler monkey up in the tree, and he shoots up there with a shotgun, and down comes not only a howler monkey, but a howler monkey's baby. And man, this guy comes back. There's some stuff we filmed this all. There's some stuff we didn't film or didn't use the footage of, but they come back and they kind of cook that monkey's head and eat it like a apple, walking around with it, kind of chewing the.
Are you serious?
Took all the intestines out in the river. So they took all those monkey guts down and inverted all the intestines to clean them, to eat. And they just, and they cook everything to the nth degree. So they smoke it, cook it, boil it. Yeah, and sitting there eating that monkey meat. And it was like, I can eat anything, man. I'll eat anything. But eating monkey meat was a tougher meal.
So they run around with a monkey head and eat it like an apple. Did you try that?
I didn't try I ate a lot of monkey meat, but I didn't try the monkey head. I wasn't offered the monkey head.
You weren't invited.
No, but I remember just seeing it. He had the little monkey, and just palming it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What about the skull?
No, just not like kind of like get like a picture that you're getting the skin off and the jowl meat and stuff, just kind of cleaning it up, cleaning it up. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Man. It was a wild experience. And the joke about that I always tell people is we run into they have like our only marsupial here is an opossum. They run into we're out at night and we run into a possum and they just killed this monkey. So we see a possum, which is not a esteemed food item here. Once upon a time it was. Like people would even harvest them. The commercial guys used to harvest them just for the fat, just for oil.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
Didn't know that.
But we run into a possum and I'm like, dude, if there's some Americans eat a possum, that possum's dead meat with these boys finding it, It was so funny. There's this possum hanging on a tree and they can see it in the light. And I'm like, man, I feel bad for that possum. And they're like, yeah. Just keep walking. So it's like monkeys, cool. Possums, no one's gonna eat that.
Damn. What's the craziest thing you've eaten?
I think that like eating monkey meat, and then years ago I did a story. I was mentioning to you, even though I promised not to do this from like earlier, I was telling you. But earlier I mentioned having an opportunity. We were talking about Vietnam vets, and I mentioned having an opportunity to go to Vietnam years ago. I did a magazine story when I was doing magazine articles. I did a magazine feature on Thit Cho, which is like meat dog in Vietnam, and it's in the north of Vietnam around the Lunar New Year. So Tet is like an auspicious time to eat dog meat in the north. And so I did a story about that, like eating dog meat, the mythology of eating dog meat, the business of dog meat in Vietnam, how it's raised, how it's sourced, how it's served, and went and ate for about a week and was never able to enjoy a bite of it, man. It would give a hot. They would call it a hot food. Like it's a charged food. They would call it hot, meaning it's like a potent food. But I would get hot flushes of guilt, dude. I'd get like a sweaty guiltiness.
Damn.
Eating that dog. And there's a common thing they would serve where you'd go into these places that would open. It was funny because I was right on that lake where they fished McCain.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, you're sitting like that lake where McCain went down in, and a guy in Vietnam mentioned he was a guest of us once talking about McCain, but it was where he was. There's a street there that during the Tet holiday is all these sort of like, you'd almost put it like, it's almost like food trucks or like pop-up stores. It's just all Thit Cho places that are open just for the Tet holiday. And you can go in and they'd serve, like you go to get dog 5 ways or dog 3 ways. And it'd be like a prefix menu.
Interesting.
Of just different preps. And when I wrote that, I published that story in Outside Magazine long ago now. And I remember it was the most, they were saying that in terms of generating like vitriolic hate mail, it was their number 2.
I'll bet.
And the number 1 thing was, at the time they said the number 1 thing was something they had written that was critical of the Boy Scouts. So I fell behind
Damn.
in vitriolic hate mail. But that was a rugged bunch of meals, and eating the monkey was fine. I would eat the monkey. I would do that again because it's such a pleasure to hang out with guys. You got to picture that you're with people that their great grandfather, their grandfather, their father, them. They hunt and fish 250 days a year, maybe. They spend some time doing these little farm fields they cultivate up and down the river. But they hunt and fish. I would ask a lot of guys, like, how many days? And they'd have to think about it. They'd say, like, 2 out of 3 days or whatever, they hunt and fish. Within a 50-mile radius, 75-mile radius for many, many, many generations. I don't care how good you think you are in the woods. You can't compete.
Yeah.
You can't, you'll never catch them. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't catch them. They're so good at like a specific set of things in a specific environment.
Yeah, I mean, they live in it, and it's not pleasure or hobby, right? It's survival.
It's just, you can't compete. The stuff they see, you'll never see it. The stuff they hear, you won't hear it. Yeah.
Damn. I bet you've seen a lot of that all over the world.
Yeah. So that meaning, like, if I can go and spend an evening or a day or whatever, go out at night with flashlights with guys that know that know their business like that, like, I'll do it anytime. I don't care what I got to eat.
I bet you've learned a ton over the years, huh?
Yeah. I've learned a lot of stuff you pick up. It's not like you're learning tricks that you're going to integrate into your own program, but you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like building kind of like a database of information or an understanding rather than like picking up some little thing. Yeah. Though I have gone and seen, it's funny, people seen how indigenous hunter-gatherers, like, see them solve a problem that I have recognized in our own world.
Interesting.
We used to, for a short period of time, I would sell snap and turtle meat in Michigan, and we would always get snap and turtles, and I remember my dad how I was taught to do it and how I would do it later when I sold a little bit of snap and turtle meat is like, you cut the snap and turtle's head off. And then they have such like an ancient nervous system, that they'll, for hours, like if you cut a turtle's head off and he's going to retract into his shell, and for hours, the expression like chicken with a head cut off, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm always trying to explain that to my kids. He's like, he's dead. He don't know it. But for hours, a turtle is tensed up.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. So like, I just remember my old man he'd like cut his head off and go hang it by the tail, and then you'd pull, and eventually it would go limp. And down in South America, I saw these guys, they got this big, they had set a net, and they got this big giant river turtle in it. And they they whittled a big long stick. Have you ever heard of the fish processing technique called ikejime?
No.
So it's, you'll catch a fish and brain it, and then they cut it by its tail and crack its tail. So you get an entry point into its spinal column, and they'll run a wire into it to just deaden the nervous system. Well, these guys cut this big long skewer, and when they cut that turtle's head off, they ran that skewer right into the backbone and shoved that skewer down in that thing, and that turtle just,
no kidding.
Melted. And then they cooked it right in its shell.
Wow.
And with something like that, I'm like, that's something I could wish I would have known about a long time.
Wow.
That's something I wish I would have known about a long time ago. So there is stuff like that, but a lot of it's like, it's not transferable. It's just cool to see it. It's cool to witness it.
Just cool to understand how they do it. And
yeah, like as a writer, it's cool to know it.
Yeah.
Because I'll write about that stuff.
How do you deal? I could imagine that with the dog thing, you got a ton of hate mail. I could see that happening.
I remember seeing some, but surprisingly not. Surprisingly
kidding.
not, yeah.
Well, that's
Surprisingly
good.
not. I've had a little bit of that from. I'm always shocked at how little of that I've got. I've had to have the FBI look into a guy one time. But
That's always
they
fun.
like scared the hell out of him, and never heard from him again.
Good deal.
They went through his trash. He was eating pepperoni pizza. I'm like, he's not even a vegetarian, dude. They're like, no, he ordered a pepperoni pizza.
Damn.
I was
Yeah,
like, what a hypocrite.
I'm surprised you don't get more pushback. I've had a couple of guys. Actually, I had Bob Parsons on. Do you know he was the CEO of GoDaddy, and he had a thing, and he had an incident. He got but I mean, I don't think people realize, how how good we have it, how sheltered we are here in America. I mean, you go to the fucking grocery store and get everything you need, but you're talking about out in the jungles of Vietnam and Bolivia, and it's like, dude, this isn't like pleasure or hobby for these people.
No.
This is their occupation and how they feed the villages.
Legitimate subsistence.
Yeah.
Legitimate subsistence.
I think
on the issue of like hearing from, just to wrap that up, like on the issue of being a hunter out in the public eye and getting harassed by animal rights extremists is like, there's nothing they can take from me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like what they do is a better target is someone that you can harm some aspect of their occupation. Let's say you're an actor, you're an actor and you're like a closeted hunter and actor. And there are some, because they're like, well, I'll be rejected in Hollywood if people know that I do this. But there's, there's no repercussion for me. It's like, no shit, It's like, I'm not gonna be like, damn it, I've been outed.
Yeah. Well, hey, before we get into the interview here, I got a couple things to crank out. So,
Please.
first one being, we got a Patreon account. We've turned it into quite the community. They've been here for a long time, a lot of them. And so one of the things I do is I offer them the opportunity to ask each and every guest a question. So this is from Justin Larson.
Justin. Okay.
Steven, given your expertise as a hunter, conservationalist, and advocate for ethical outdoor practices, do you believe that with the right advocate, we could implement mandatory hunter safety courses in schools to promote responsible gun handling and teach sustainable food harvesting from the land?
Mandatory. I don't know, because like driver's ed isn't even mandatory.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's
I like it. It's nice to have it be available. When I was a kid, we took it at school. You would take it you could go to the school and take it, but it was a weekend long thing. How long can people go on about this? Because I'll try to be quick about the issue. If there's been a trend in hunting regulation structure, a surprising trend is that states have tended to, over the years, lower barrier to entry. Okay. When I was growing up in Michigan, you couldn't hunt at all until you took hunter safety. You couldn't hunt with a firearm till you were 14. Like, we did not pay attention to that rule. Like, my dad was not interested in that rule. You had to be 12 to hunt with a bow. You couldn't hunt with a bow until you took hunter's ed. Now they leave it up to a family to decide when a kid can hunt. And they make it that you can hunt for a number of years with a mentor who's within arm's reach before you need to go and take your hunter's ed. I support that deregulation.
Yeah.
There to make it easier for people to participate out in the woods with their little kids. I live in the state of Montana. I think Montana's got it just about right. A 10-year-old can hunt with their parent or a person designated to mentor them. They can start at 10. They can hunt 2 years, and then they're obligated to take hunter safety.
Gotcha.
So when my kids turn 10, I hunt with them. I'm their mentor. They're right here with me. Like, they don't do, unless I say do it, they don't do it. They're right there. But we can do 2 years. They can get hooked or not, and then go down the path of doing the hunter safety.
Oh, right.
And it's like, it's a great program. It was too strict. It was too strict and too big brother I felt when I was a kid. So I like these moves to leave it up to a family to figure out when it's appropriate for their kid to get rolling.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds, I mean, is that when you started your kids? Is that 10?
Yeah, well, I would bring them out with me and they could hunt pine squirrels and whatever else. But their first, so I got a boy turning 10 now. In a couple weekends, we have in our state, we have our youth waterfowl season. So that'll be, well, no, because he was able to hunt turkeys in the spring. This will be his first duck hunt coming up.
Oh, right on.
So we have a 2-day youth waterfowl season. It'll be his first duck hunt. We have a youth deer season. It'll be his first deer hunt. And that's what I did with my other 2 kids too.
Cool.
And they all love it. Yeah. And it's nice to be able to get them going and not have to jump through all these legal hurdles to take them out and set them right next to you.
Man, I'll bet your kids are dying to get out there with you.
Yeah, I've been lucky in that way, man. I've been lucky in that way. I remember having kids and someone saying like, what if your kids don't like to hunt as much as you do? And I'm like, not many people do. But I've been lucky because they dig it, you know. It's fun. I don't know that they always will, but they'll always carry it with them. You know, they'll always carry, like, I like them to be a little bit, you know, it's good that they're a little bit gritty. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like them to have that. Even if my daughter, whatever, if she grows up and doesn't go near it, she'll carry some things from those experiences with her, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. I think kids today definitely need more grit. Mm-hmm. It's, I think it's, at least from my perspective, it's very apparent.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, I like it. But this thing I always tell people, like, if I, like a measure of sort of a way, this kind of like very arbitrary individual way of kind of measuring like where your kids are at. Like if I got something in my hand, you know, and I hold it out, like my kid would be like, they don't go like, well, what is it? Do you know? Or if I'm like, no, try to eat that, take a bite of that and eat that. They'll be like, okay.
Damn,
you know?
that's cool.
I deliberately try to like get that feeling on. Like if I got a snake, I'm like, no, he's cool. He won't get you. They're going to take it.
Wow.
You know, or whatever. If they see something, if they see a mouse run along, like their instinct is to grab it.
Nice. Is hunting on the decline?
Man, depends on how and when you measure it. So it's remained remarkably in not percentage, but this is kind of a weird deal. Not in percentage, but in actual numbers, it's remained remarkably consistent.
Oh, really?
Since the end of World War II. Like World War II kind of gave us the modern day outdoorsman. And my dad was a product of that. Like my dad came home from the war. There was even an editor at an outdoor magazine at the time and made some comment that like, how can you train an entire generation of men to shoot and camp and not expect them to hunt? And my dad grew up, he was raised by Italian immigrants. He was raised by his grandparents, south side of Chicago. Came home from the war and got into it, man. Like started bow hunting in the 50s, started, deer hunting. He just got into it. He wanted to be outside. He said everybody was stir crazy. No one wanted to be held tight. He told me stories of like being lined up hunting rabbits and someone would shoot and everybody would hit the ground.
Wow.
It was like that fresh, you know, but that's just what he wanted to do. And that kind of gave us, there was other things that were happening culturally as people had automobiles. So people that would live in urban, suburban areas had a way to get somewhere. Freezers were becoming a thing. So you had a way, like if you killed a deer, like picture, and normally like if you killed a deer, you know, you had to either be really good, knew how to dry it into jerky and want to eat that. But with the freezer came this idea that you could go and hunt geese, ducks, deer, whatever, and bring it home and freeze it and then be able to periodically throughout the year eat fresh food. And so it birthed the American outdoorsman. And since those post-war years, the number of hunters has remained remarkably static. But obviously it's declined hugely in terms of, I mean, our population, you know, doubled, tripled, quadrupled, or whatever the hell since then. I'm not sure. Has to have tripled. So the percentages have dropped. You look in California. So California, New Jersey, it's less than 1%.
Are you serious?
Less than 1% of the population.
New Jersey doesn't surprise me.
California less than 1% of the population buys a hunting license. Fishing participation is different, but just speaking about hunting, other states are pretty robust. There was a huge spike during COVID, you know. Behaviors change. So hunters are kind of hard to count, right? Like if I go and buy a license in my home state of Montana, and we have a little fish shack in Alaska. If I buy a license in Alaska, I just got counted twice. I'm on the list.
Yeah.
In 2 places. The one thing that's really easy to count is if you want to hunt migratory waterfowl, you have to buy a federal duck stamp. People could go buy that duck stamp for no reason, or just collectors or whatever. But by and large, you can look at like how many federal duck stamps were sold, how many guys hunted ducks because they have to buy this federal stamp, and they'll sell 1 million of those stamps. Meanwhile, 13, 14 million people will hunt deer. Mm-hmm. Deer's the most hunted thing. Mourning doves are the most harvested animal.
Yeah, I was having I'm not a big hunter, but when I took my first deer last season, it was a little guy. I was excited, but he was like, "Don't ever post that."
It was too little.
I don't know. Was
it a male or a female?
It was a male.
Had the antlers?
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
They were little. He was like, "Don't post it." I was like, "Why not? It's my first one."
I don't want to disparage your friend, but he's giving you bad advice, dude.
But
if you were happy,
I was ecstatic.
Dude,
I was like,
"Come on!"
I thought it was awesome. But anyways, we were having a conversation, and he was like, "Yeah, he's like hunting's on the decline ever since." And, this could be hearsay, I don't know. But he was like, ever since, smartphones came out, he's like, it's getting harder and harder and harder to get kids out into the wild. And he's like, and now we're seeing this overabundance of deer and all this other game. And I was like, oh, shit, makes sense. I was just curious what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, it's like suburban deer and stuff. I mean, it's a very complex issue. It's not just the lack of people willing to hunt them. Like anyone out there, if you got a bunch of deer, you have 10 acres, 20 acres, 100 acres, and you got a bunch of deer bugging you, and you put a sign up that says "Hunters, please inquire," the day's not going to be through, and you're going to have someone banging on your door. There are like you don't meet hunters who will tell you like, I can't even scratch the surface of all the properties I got to hunt. They're dying to hunt. Yeah. People are dying to hunt. The suburban deer problem is self-made. It's not because there's no interest. It's because people are intolerant of it. They don't want like hillbillies and rednecks running around their place.
Yeah,
that's what that's about.
Gotcha.
And for some people in some suburban areas, they would rather entertain ideas such as like providing contraception to deer, hiring taxpayer-funded sharpshooters to shoot deer. They would rather do all that than let some hillbilly on their place.
No like, shit.
That is the suburban
contraceptives.
That is the deer problem.
What?
They can treat them with contraceptives.
Really?
Yeah, it's tried it. Yeah, they somehow like they do it with the wild horses. You familiar with the whole wild horse problem?
No, I didn't know there was a problem.
There's like the wild horse and burro. In the arid West, there's these feral populations of wild horses, and for a while you could commodify them, and so they passed this thing called the Wild Horse and Burro Protection Act, which was a huge mistake. And now we lose all kinds of wildlife habitat. We lose desert bighorn habitat, mule deer habitat to competition with feral horses, just like horses running around. They're not a native animal. And so there's even legislation up right now to like up the amount of contraception, darting mares with contraceptives to try to slow the population. This is something they're always toying with deer. It's more palatable than some dude killing it and eating it.
Wow.
It's just, it's lunacy. So like the suburban deer problem, I'm like, it's a problem because we've decided to let it be a problem. It would very quickly not be a problem.
Have you heard about this, shit, I can't remember his name, this guy in Hawaii. I guess there's all these deer that are just like...
Axis.
Yeah.
Axis deer.
They're just like taking over everything.
Yeah.
And I think he shoots them on nods and it's like, take as many as you can get. Have you done anything like that?
I've hunted axis deer in Hawaii long ago, but I haven't done any of the sort of like eradication stuff that they got going on.
Okay. Yeah, we were thinking about bringing him on, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But anyways, yeah, so a couple more things. Everybody gets a gift.
Okay.
So Vigilance Elite gummy bears, legal in all 50 states.
Oh, legal in all 50 states. That was
Yeah.
my first question.
There's no funny business in there. It's
really?
It's not a vice,
Oh, okay.
but they're made
Well, I
up.
would have found a home for them.
Made up in Michigan. And then I got you something else.
That's great. I appreciate that.
That is. Are you familiar with USCCA?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Should I be?
Are you a concealed weapons guy?
Well, I live in an open carry state, but the other day I was doing an FFL transfer on a pistol, and she suggested to me that I should get concealed, even though I don't need it, because then I don't need to do FFL transfer.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
I didn't.
My old man in Michigan, my old man had his concealed, but yeah, we're open carry.
So basically, what USCCA does is it's kind of like a. So if you have to act in self-defense, it's going to be a disaster of a legal process.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they provide you the attorneys and
Oh, really?
all of that stuff. So it's an insurance policy for concealed carriers in case in case something goes bad or you have to defend yourself or your family. And so they'll jump in, they'll provide you with the attorneys if you want them. They'll provide you with all the advice, and they cover all the legal fees up to a certain amount. I can't remember what it is, but
Yeah, well, I'll eat some gummies and I'll read up.
right on.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So that's a lifelong membership to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
My days don't slow down. Between work, the gym, and time with the kids, I need eyewear that can keep up with everything I've got going on. And that's why I trust Roka. I've tried plenty of shades before, but these stand out. They're built for performance without sacrificing style. I've put them through it all. On the range, out on the water, and off-road. They don't quit. They're lightweight, stay locked in place, and are tough enough to handle whatever I throw at them. And the best part? They don't just perform, they look incredible. Sleek, modern, and designed for people who expect more from their eyewear. No fluff, no gimmicks, just premium frames that deliver every single time. And that's why Roka is what I grab when I'm heading out the door. Born in Austin, Texas, they're American designed with zero shortcuts. Razor sharp optics, no glare, and all-day comfort that doesn't quit. And if you need prescription lenses, they've got you covered with both sunglasses and eyeglasses. One brand, all your bases. Roka isn't just eyewear, it's confidence you can wear every day. They're the real deal. Ready to upgrade your eyewear? Check them out for yourself at roka.com and use code SRS for 20% off site-wide at checkout. That's ROKA.com. Every day, it becomes more obvious. The world is changing fast, and the systems we were taught to rely on can't be counted on anymore. Whether it's institutions, governments, or supply chains, when things go wrong, most people are caught completely off guard. That's why it's up to you to take responsibility for yourself, your safety, and your family's well-being. Preparation starts with the basics. For me, that includes long-term emergency food. That's why I use and trust My Patriot Supply, because when the unexpected hits, I want to know I've done everything I can to be ready for myself and the people I care about. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/SRS and shop a curated collection of my favorite products, from long-term food storage to water filtration, medical kits, and portable power solutions. With lightning-fast shipping, your supplies can be at your door in as little as 48 hours. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/SRS right now. That's mypatriotsupply.com/SRS. I know there are a lot of choices out there when it comes to cell phone service, and it feels like new providers pop up every week. But Patriot Mobile stands out for a reason. They're a company built by people who actually share your values. And they've been doing this for over 12 years. No gimmicks, no agendas, just honest service and a commitment to doing right by their customers. They offer reliable, nationwide coverage using all three major networks, so you're not sacrificing quality. And when you switch, you're supporting a company that believes in faith, family, and freedom. Values that matter. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've already made the switch to Patriot Mobile. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/SRS. Use promo code SRS for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/SRS or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. All right, so I love doing life stories. Where'd you grow up?
Where did I grow up? I grew up in Western Michigan, Muskegon County, Michigan. Pretty close, about 8 miles from Lake Michigan. You know.
How into hunting were you?
Sorry?
Did you grow up hunting?
Oh, yeah. My dad was a big hunter. We were brought up in it. We did a lot of the normal stuff everybody does, you know. But I grew up on a lake and had a lot of fishing and hunting opportunities around. My dad had been, like I said earlier, he was a big hunter. He was into archery hunting very early. You know, there was sort of like, obviously people used to archery hunt before the advent of, you know, before the introduction of the firearm. And then archery hunting took a long vacation. And then started, you know, people started toying with bows again in the 20s and 30s. And my dad was bow hunting even before some states were even having archery seasons. So I was brought up around archery hunting. We hunted ducks, we hunted squirrels. We'd hunt mostly within definitely the vast majority of our hunting was in 10 mile radius. We had a lake, and so I grew up fishing in the lake, grew up trapping muskrats, got real into fur trap when I was a kid. But yeah, it was just totally immersed. It was never like a thing that it was never a thing you decided to do. It was just around. It was, to kind of give you a sense of like what the community was like or how it was perceived is I remember waking up in the morning and hoping to look out my window in the dark, hoping to see those raining and blowing so that we didn't have to go hunting. And I remember feeling real guilty for feeling that way. I feel like, I hope it's real windy so I don't got to get up. And I'm like, man, I shouldn't feel that way. That's terrible. Yeah, it was just baked in, man. It was baked in. Everybody around there hunted. I got a friend who's an outdoor writer, Pat Durkin, and he was talking about Wisconsin, right across the lake from us, you know, very similar. And he said, if you're not in this community, he said, if you're not a deer hunter, you sleep with one. And it was just a thing. People just did it. You know, people did it. Everybody did it. Not the women.
What'd you like doing more, fishing or hunting?
Hunting.
What do you like more, firearms or archery?
Firearms.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you like firearms better?
Just like them. I don't know. I hunt bow when it's bow season. The real serious archers, like the way you measure a real serious archer is bow hunting during gun season, right? I bow hunt as a way to extend my hunting opportunities.
Gotcha.
A real archer, like a real bow hunter, even when they could use a firearm, they're like, nope. Like when I see that, I'm like, that's a bow hunter, dude.
Right on, man.
You know, and I'm like, I use it to extend my seasons.
Right on.
Yeah. I bow hunt when I can, but the minute I can grab my gun, I grab my gun.
Is it that much more challenging?
It's just different, man. It's too hard to say. Okay, I would say this. If you're bow hunting during firearm season, hell yeah, way more challenging. But there's some great archery opportunities and no one is able to be out with a gun. So then, I can't say it's more challenging because it's like giving you an opportunity in a behavior set and wildlife that you're not going to see during firearm season. Like deer, no. Let's just take something like whitetail deer, like they're all over here, they're all over everywhere. People hunt whitetail deer in 40 some states. They know. Like when general firearm season opens, they know the day before firearm season opens, like unusual activity, whatever, and they go into lockdown mode. Oftentimes, right, in high pressure areas. So their habits just change. So if you're hunting them a week before that with a bow, I can't tell you that it's more challenging because you're hunting deer that are acting more like deer, right? They're out and about. But if you were a purist, you're a purist and you're like, even when gun opens, I'm out with my bow. And I got plenty of friends that do it. Yeah, way more challenging. I mean, the difference between I see a deer at, you know, I catch a deer crossing something at 200 yards and it's just like, he's mine. For him, it's got to be 35, 40.
It's got to be that close.
Well, I mean, depends. Like I got one very serious bow hunter buddy. I was having this conversation the other day, like lifelong bow hunter, the kind of guy that's going to hunt with a bow even during gun season. And instead of his range going out, like the better the gear gets, everything, he was telling me just the other night, a whitetail hunter named Mark Kenyon was telling me, he's like, from now on, I don't know how true he'll stay. He says, from now on, I don't shoot more than 30 yards.
Why?
Too much margin for error. They got too much time to react. They got too much time to react. They're already doing something.
Makes sense.
And the minute that bow makes a noise, he's already responding.
Gotcha.
And you'll see people, there's a term people use called jumping the string or ducking the arrow, where if you look in slow motion, there's an arrow coming toward a deer and it looks like he ducked it. Because he like scrunches and the arrow over his back. What he's actually doing is he's loading up to spring. So he hears it. They're so fast. You can't even comprehend how fast they are. They're so fast. He's already down, loading up to take off. And so that's why it gets really tricky at certain distances, especially with fast animals. Like elk aren't nearly as fast. But a white-tailed deer, who's most famous? I've never killed one with a bow, but the most famous string jumping thing is the axis deer.
No kidding.
That's what very like credentialed friends of mine have said, that axis deer, they'll point out maybe this is a thing that had in its native range coexisted with tigers, right? They're like, you think about releasing that string and that deer's already loading up, So that's their reputation, is they're way ahead. You can't comprehend time. But think about, like, you picture that there's a fly sitting here, and you're like, bam, and he's already gone. You think you're going fast, and the fly's head, you're going like this. How he perceives time.
Yeah.
He's like, I should probably get out of the way of that thing. At some point, I should probably move.
Have you, I'm sorry, I just got a bunch of random questions.
Oh, no, please.
But have you ever done, we're going into fishing. Have you ever done anything in Brazil or maybe Peru on the Amazon? Have you ever done an Amazon fishing?
I fished in the extreme headwaters of the Amazon in Bolivia, and stuff that will eventually flows into the Amazon. Yeah, but it would be like headwater tributary stuff. Yeah, but never the Amazon proper.
Okay.
And I fished over a drainage divide into rivers that would, like, on ridge lines that would, one side would go to the Amazon, but the other side flows into the Caribbean. I've fished that stuff, but I've never been like on an Amazon river trip, though I would like to.
Man, I've been dying to do that.
For peacock bass and stuff.
Yeah, for whatever. Arapaima.
Yep.
Have you got one of those?
I've laid eyes on Arapaima, and when I was talking about those guys in Guyana that, like, they used to bow hunt Arapaima for the commercial markets, and I've caught arowana, which is like a small, much smaller version of much smaller version of Arapaima, and I've observed Arapaima, but I've never even taken a cast at Arapaima.
Man, that's cool. I would love to do that.
Yeah, no, I've never done it, but it'd be sweet. You see those pictures of them. I think what is the largest freshwater scaled fish?
That's the rumor.
That seems like you're adding a lot of, like, things, because it can't be the largest fish, which is the whale shark. So you got to be like the largest freshwater scaled fish. Because in the Mekong Delta, there's a catfish that's bigger than an Arapaima.
No shit. No. Have you got any of those?
No. I've caught some big ass weird catfish, but not that kind of catfish. No.
Right on, man. Yeah, that's something I would love to do. I would love to get into hunting too. It's just, business gets in the way of just about everything.
Yeah. You got little kids though now.
Well, yeah, I'm warming my son up to fishing.
Yeah.
We've been at it for almost a year now. It's come a long ways.
Yeah.
Now he's casting. He can do pretty much everything but put the worm on the hook and take the fish up. He's just
I'm glad you let him fish with worms.
Poking their eyes and shit. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I had such a good time the other day. I was with my little daughter, and we went out, and shouldn't call her little anymore. She's 12, but I took her out. We caught grasshoppers. I have this little grasshopper container that once belonged to my dad, and we caught grasshoppers and put them in there, and then went down to the creek. And this is an area where you're not allowed to kill cutthroats, but we pinched the barb and would hook grasshoppers and just send them downriver.
Nice.
Watch those fish come up and grab them, dude. It was fun, man. Like I said, she'll carry that stuff with her, you know.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one more. Where is your favorite place to hunt?
I mean, I like hunting all over the place. I really have a lot of, I've had a lot of fun opportunities to hunt up in Alaska. I have a brother that has been there for a long time. And so when he moved up, I started hanging out up there as well. I really enjoy being out in Alaska. Between different kind of things I'll do, I spend maybe a month every year up doing different stuff there. We have a little fish shack in Alaska that I bought 20 years ago with my two of my siblings and a buddy of ours. We just bought it on a whim at 20 grand a piece.
Nice.
Smartest thing I ever did.
Nice.
And we fish up there and do some hunting up there. So yeah, I like that. I love where I live. I live in Montana. We have a great time there, but I really appreciate, some of my best experiences are up in the far north. Yeah. Up in Alaska.
Yeah. It's beautiful up there. Do you like the adventure of getting into new ecosystems, new environments to hunt in? Yeah, I'll bet.
I spent a month in, after toying with the idea and toying with it for decades, I spent a month in Africa this year.
How was it?
Just life-changing. Went to Tanzania. I met these dudes, this guy, a professional hunter named Morgan Potter. He works for this place, Robin Hurt Safaris, and I met Roger Hurt, a kid of the founder. You know, he got tore up by a Cape buffalo. So he had come to the U.S. for some medical care. And this other professional hunter married a woman. Morgan Potter married a woman, and they live. So even though he spends half his year in Tanzania, he spends half his year by me. And so we just got to hanging out, and I had him come on my podcast, just talk about their life and the kind of hunting they do. And once I had some people I really trusted to go, I went, and it changed. I mean, like, life-changing experience. I kept telling people I was there so long I had to cut my fingernails twice. And it was, dude, it was just, I mean, utterly life-changing. Yeah, just the stuff I saw, other ways to live, you know. I was blown away, man. I'll be talking about that the rest of my life.
When you go on these remote trips like this, are you embedded with indigenous people? You get to see how they live,
yep,
what they eat.
Yeah, got to hang out with the trackers, you know, and the way these guys work is, we were out, just to give you some, I mean, you know, obviously, I mean, you know, you've been all over the world. I mean, it's a huge continent, right? Like, it's the different ways that not only the different ways people live, the different climates and all that, there's very different ways in which wildlife is managed in Africa. Tanzania has a very progressive view on wildlife management. We were on a hunting area that's the size of Yellowstone National Park. It's a 2 million acre game concession. There are human activities occurring. It's not a peopleless environment. Like, there's guys that have permits to commercially fish there. There's guys that do commercial honey harvest in there. But it's like the government has said that this 2 million acres doesn't get developed, and they make money off it. They're able to make money off it by allowing hunting to occur on the place. And so we're out in this like 2 million acre thing, but we're the only people around. We would some days do 100 miles. You know, wow. 100 miles in pickups on just trails these guys hack out through the woods, you know, and you see just crazy stuff. But yeah, there's guys out on the landscape, you know, you'd run into, the honey season was just finishing up. So there's guys out doing honey, but we were with trackers in this part of Tanzania, in eastern Tanzania. I spent some time in Maasai land, which is the Maasai tribe. Where we were was like Bantu peoples, but we were with trackers and the trackers they use are by and large poachers that they caught. So they'll catch poachers, and if they're young and ambitious and good, they'll be like, listen, you know, you should come see us. So the two trackers that I was hanging out with were both people that were brought up as poachers. They were in the bushmeat trade. snaring and hunting with homemade guns and poison arrows
Wow.
in order to sell bushmeat. And these dudes are now trackers. And yeah, it's unbelievable. I said to our guy one time, the professional hunter, who in some ways acts as a liaison between you and the trackers, you know, like the trackers carry a lot of weight. Like their opinion matters immensely. Right. And you're there, you don't know shit. And the professional hunter is kind of like, he's meant to be like, he understands you, like the white dude, and what you're hoping to accomplish. And he understands the trackers and what they know. And he's aligning everyone's interests. And he's also in charge, you know what I mean? Like he's there to keep you from getting killed. But at one point we're going along, and I would now and then be like, you have to, like when they're looking at the ground, I'm like, come on, like what are they seeing? And when I would do it, they would be like, okay, if you really need to know, one Cape buffalo walked right there, one walked right there, one walked right there, one walked right there. If you look at that piece of grass, you see how it stepped on it. Look how it looks now. That shit has about 1/8 of an inch of dryness on it. It wasn't laying there yesterday. It wasn't laying there that night. It was laying there this morning, and they're probably bedded down over that way.
Wow.
And you're like, hey. But at one point I said to this guy, I've told people this a bunch of times, I said to the tracker, or to Morgan, the professional hunter, I said, man, I don't see what they're seeing. You know, we're going through a burned area and we're trailing something. I'm like, I don't see it. Like I was incredulous. And he turned to me and he said, that's the point. You can't see what they see. And he's gotten to the point where he's totally fine with that.
No kidding.
He's fine with it. If they say it's there, he's like, okay.
Right on, man.
If they say it's there, it's there. When they say it's not there anymore, it's not there anymore.
I think that stuff's fascinating, man. I mean, yeah, I've been all over the world hunting different stuff, but through my career, but just seeing like, it sounds weird, but man, like I love being in third world countries and seeing, you know, how people live and survive and what they like to do and all that stuff. And it's just fascinating to me to see how they live in Haiti or Yemen or Afghanistan, Iraq, all over South America. I mean, it's just fascinating to me. And it also gives you an appreciation for how fucking easy it is here in the U.S.
You have the added thing in your life, though. You've seen a lot of places where it's like there's poverty, but it's overlaid with conflict. Yeah. I've seen poverty, but I haven't seen it overlaid with conflict. Yeah. And so that's what you're seeing is a very different version of poverty than peaceful poverty. Peaceful poverty is one thing, but wartime poverty is different. And
I've seen peaceful poverty too. South America was all on my own accord. And you know what's interesting is how, at least from my perspective, not necessarily in where conflict is, but to see how happy people are, especially in South America, living in a grass hut. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or a mud walled hut. And it's like, dude, they're just happy people. You know, you go around America, it's everybody's bitching about who knows what, usually politics, but you know what I mean? It's we have so much here, and yet we are so pissed at each other and so tribalized, and it's and then you go down there and they're not even making ends meet, and they have such a positive attitude. I think that's cool.
I was telling someone about this the other day on my show, and I'll give it to you to think about for a minute too. Is I took this class in college called Political Rhetoric, and we read, Dr. King, the Camille Paglia. One of the things we read was the Unabomber's Manifesto. You ever read the Unabomber's Manifesto?
Oh man.
Okay. There's a, without in any way seeming like I'm endorsing, I'm not. I'm saying there's a point he raises in his manifesto. If you can get through it, it's very difficult to get through. But there's this point he raises, which is always stuck in my head since I was in college, is he talks about there's these different, there's this way he sets out difficulty of task. Okay. And when he's laying out difficulty of task, he stages them like 1 through 5. I can't remember if it's escalating or de-escalating, but the easiest difficulty of task, or the most difficult task, is something where if you try your absolutely hardest, you have only a slim chance of success. Okay, let's say that's like level 1. On up to, you don't even need to try at all, and you'll succeed. Okay. He said that humans do best at 2 and 3. Like at 2 and 3, it's that if you try really hard, you have a reasonable chance of surviving if you try hard. But he says that's what was his gripe with technology. He said technology has landed us at 5. You don't need to try at all, and you're fine. And he says that's where all of our neuroses come from.
Interesting.
Because the thing that he argues, Kaczynski argued, and again, without getting into like sending mails off or sending bombs off in the mail and shit, it's just an interesting point. Is he argues that the thing that we're supposed to be trying to do really hard is like to take care of ourselves and take care of our family. But now that it's all a given, we have all this mental room. We have all this mental room to be spoiled and whiny and bitchy. Because we wake up and it's all pointless. It's all taken care of. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, you probably know it's coming, right?
It's an interesting point.
That was his gripe. Kind
of hard to argue that.
And again, I always hesitate to bring up where it came from, but I need to be intellectually honest to say where the point came from, and going to other places and seeing other things demonstrates that. My 2 boys share a room, which brings up all amount of bitching. And the other day I'm saying to my 15-year-old, we're having the same damn conversation around the dinner table, like them sharing the room. I'm like, dude, you just came from a place. They had been out there with me for a week, and then my wife took my kids bumming around. But I'm like, you just came from a place, dude. People were sleeping, and you saw it. You were there. People sleep in grass huts they made for themselves. And he's like, good point. Not that I'm done hearing about the room thing, but at least he's old enough to recognize, like, yeah, you're right.
That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Back to the Africa thing. I mean, they take that. I mean, I've had a lot of people in that do big game hunting, and they don't want to talk about it because they don't want the blowback.
Oh yeah.
But friends of mine, guests that have been on here, lots of people. But from my understanding, I've never been on a hunt in Africa, but they take that shit they take conservation very seriously, from what I understand. I mean, they have contractors, careers that hunt poachers, correct?
Yep. And I'm anything but a subject matter expert. I can speak to where I was in Tanzania, but in Tanzania, it's a remarkably different regulatory structure than what we have. One of the things that makes the United States of America so progressive and so great on wildlife, like a way that we've just achieved success with wildlife is publicly owned. Okay. The U.S. citizens, the citizens of a state, they own the wildlife, and then agencies represent your interest in owning the wildlife. It's democratically owned. In Tanzania, that's not the case. Like, the government owns the wildlife. So and there's poverty there. How they can protect habitat is by declaring these areas hunt areas, and they put a fee to the animals, and they hold a bid process. There's a bid process where a hunting organization needs to go to the government, and these contracts renew. I can't remember. I think it's maybe a contract's good for 10 years. You come in and you're like, we will pay you, Tanzania, blank dollars to have access to this parcel of land to hunt it. So there's revenue for them. Then they come and they have their biologists come out and do a survey of what's there. And there's like, you guys are allowed to kill whatever. I'm just going to throw out random numbers that aren't true, but let's say, you're allowed 5 Cape buffalo, you're allowed 30 topi, whatever the hell it is. They'll come out with a list, and they'll say that you are obligated to buy 40% of that wildlife from us the operator. Okay. So then when you get an animal, your what they call a trophy fee, your fee just goes to Tanzania. That trophy fee does. And so they're able to draw revenue